Welcome back from the break. You're still watching Life Stories with me, your host, Justine. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. You can send us an SMS on 6565 and give us your view about this topic. Also, reach us on Facebook and Twitter. That is still NTV Life Stories. Next on the show, we are going to talk to Madame Florence Buluba, the Executive Director, National Community of Women Living with HIV AIDS. We are seated outside in the compound of the headquarters of this organization. Florence has come face to face with so many people that are living with HIV AIDS, and she's going to be giving us the picture of what their life is and how they survive in this world. Madame Florence, how are you?
I'm fine, Justin. Thanks. How are you?
I'm fine. Well done.
Thank you.
Omulimu gwebale gw'amaanyi.
Kale nnyabo. Nawe mwebale kutuwagira.
Kale nnyabo. When did you start this organization?
Nakola started way back in 1992 as a group, with a group of 3 women who felt that their voices were not being felt as HIV positive women, and they needed to fight stigma and discrimination in the community. So they formed a group and came up with their areas of operation and thought that in the community there were many who were like them and needed to be brought forward and be able to talk for others who are not able.
Madame Florence, what made you this passionate about people living with HIV AIDS?
Justin, you can bear with me that in almost every family there must be an epidemic, and somehow they must have been affected. And as I was telling you, I had a sister who underwent a very nasty experience during her sickness, and at that time we hadn't got enough treatment. Meningitis was very high, and you could not even trace the drugs for meningitis. I also had a brother-in-law who succumbed to the same, and they left behind 5 children whom I took on. And during that time, it's like almost every month I was having a burial of a relative for dying of the same. So I think something needed to be done. And being a professional at that time, I was called upon to participate in the workplace.
You are a professional?
I'm a social scientist.
Oh, okay, please.
Yes. So I was called upon to participate in the workplace policy. That is when I took interest to see that I needed to be an activist in this area and support people who were not able to come out. And at that time, it's like the people who were so much affected were those who were not educated. And it's like those are the ones that people thought were more infected. The educated could not come out clearly to say we support. A nasty story came up when 2 kids came to say, somebody has given us this card to come and pick food from Nakola. Then we said, where is Mommy? They said she died. You know, that time set whoever was there just on tension and said, what is going to happen to these children? So it was something that was building up with the time. You are looking at this nasty story, you are looking at the parents, you are looking at the environment the women were in. Most of the women who lost their spouses were being violated, harassed at home.
It was a whole cycle.
Yes, it was a whole cycle.
So many people being affected.
Women who were being labeled as the ones who had brought the infection in their families, and their property was being removed from them. The children, most of them were going on the streets. Those who were being interviewed, why did you leave home? My mother died and my father brought another woman, so she chased me out of the home. So we started slowly. We brought in, we introduced the OVC program, and it was supported by UNICEF. Why I was so passionate about Nakola and looking at the women as an area was the cases where I used to visit the women who were down, bedridden. The problem was my children. I'm dying, but where do I leave my children? So I saw this as an issue that needed to be
addressed.
So when treatment came on, it was something that we needed to see. If a woman is down in bed, is there a way you can help her access treatment? Is there a way you can help her to avoid, to do away with the stigma? Stigma is in two ways. It can be an internal stigma or an external. Internal in that if you don't deal with yourself, then you will not be able to get out of your house
and live a normal life.
Yes. So what Nakola does is to emphasize on addressing stigma among women who are living with HIV. They counsel them, tell them, please come out, you are normal, you'll have treatment and live a normal life. And that is what they call positive living.
You have come face to face with so many people
Yes.
that are living with HIV AIDS, and you say they are moving on.
Yes.
And me, I've come face to face with so many people who are living with HIV AIDS, and they don't seem to be able to move on. Is it possible
To move on,
to wake up in the morning and say, I have HIV AIDS, life goes on?
it's not very easy. It's not very easy. That's why we say the government must really play a very big role. Somebody cannot just stop and come up out of the blue and say, I am HIV positive. One has to undergo a process. First of all, in most cases, people test because they are sick. He will test because he's continuously sick, and then somehow he wakes up and say, but why? Or the doctor will compel him or her to say, can you test? Or the relatives can say, can you test? But as an individual, as I told you, stigma is still high. People fear to be labeled. And when you, the way HIV is seen, it is immoral, you know? They associate it with immorality, that you got it because you misbehaved. Take an example of a woman. Women normally fall victims of circumstance. The infection finds them in bed, you know? The husband comes, he knocks, he finds you in bed, and you get it. So, and she's the same woman who knows her status first, especially those who are in the reproductive age. You conceive, you go for antenatal, they test you, they say you are positive, you come home, you declare you disclose the information to your partner, they will say you are the one who brought it. So it is compelling women not even to disclose their status, you see. So the environment itself is very hostile for certain groups of people.
So those those who are living on, what did they do, you know?
They must have undergone counseling. Some have joined the groups of people living with HIV.
How do we make life easy for people who are living with HIV AIDS?
Love them. Yes. What you need to do is to give support. You know, bearing in mind that HIV is a disease, and this disease can get anybody as long as you don't protect yourself, as long as you don't take responsibility of yourself, you definitely get it. And what I want us to do is to understand that HIV is a normal disease now, which you can prevent if you really want to be normal. And what I also think individuals should know, take responsibility of yourselves. Know that HIV still exists. How do I prevent myself from the infection? Can we look at the measures that can prevent the infection? Things like condoms. And another thing which maybe I want to emphasize is the legal environment. Recently we have what the government want, what they want to come as a law called HIV Control and Prevention Bill, which is currently on. And it is talking of criminalizing HIV, people who intentionally infect others. I feel when you put up a law that is going to target individuals who would want to come out and know their status.
But they're talking about those who intentionally affect others.
Justin,
Aren't they there?
Can you tell me how you will measure intention? That you intended to infect me? How will you measure it? Because if you are an adult and I'm also an adult, we consent on sex. We should take responsibility of ourselves. I should know, are you HIV negative or positive? We just don't go in bed and then we start, then tomorrow you say, I intended. We consented.
Please say something about mother-to-child transmission.
Mother-to-child transmission is when a mother gives birth and the baby gets infected at birth. Normally they say, medical people say the baby is infected outside, maybe immediately after. So mother-to-child is another strategy which globally has been identified as something that can be achieved. Right now in the country, we have about 25,000 children being born with HIV. So we feel that is still unacceptable. So what research has brought out is that if a mother is treated, is put on antiretroviral treatment, and during pregnancy, and then even after delivery, and she continues with it, she will have a baby who is negative. And this strategy, research has also come up to say, if a person has been on treatment and adhered to it, he stands very minimal chances of infecting the partner who is not positive. And they put it at 96%. So we feel that if a mother who is pregnant and goes to test, she's found HIV positive, she's put on treatment immediately, and this treatment is for life. She gives birth and she continues with the treatment, but knowing the baby will be, the chances of having the baby negative are very high. And this is a strategy which they are calling option B plus, that you put a mother on treatment for life
and then save the baby. For children like Lydia, how have you been able to protect them?
Basically, when they come here, we do counsel them. We do train them on behavior, and then we also support them psychologically. You know, when you look at Lydia, when Lydia is here, she's among her parents, you know. And she will just come to you and say, I want this, she's free. That's when we say, please identify yourselves with the people who support you.
Okay, please.
Yes, they are discriminated but when they get to people who love them, they really love them. Yes.
Okay. You just heard from Madame Florence, the Executive Director of NACOLA here in Zambia, an NGO that supports women and children that are living with HIV AIDS. You need to understand that AIDS kills people who don't care, not people who have it, because those who have it could be living purposeful lives, living on proper medication. But some of you who don't even have it, you don't care, you don't value information, you live recklessly, and it will come to you and kill you. Questions about HIV AIDS are endless, so stay with us and get to hear from the doctor's point of view about HIV AIDS. We'll be right back after the break.